UFC Vegas 65 recently wrapped up. I'm going to talk about each of the matchups on the card, giving you guys my reaction and breakdown to them all. Now, as far as the main event, Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak, the fight got canceled. Unfortunate, man. It definitely threw the whole dynamic of the card. Sucks that we didn't get to see that fight. Medical issues with Derek Lewis. We don't know exactly what it was. I'm just guessing. I'm assuming it's some type of back spasm issue with Lewis. Now, let's get into the first fight of the night, and we'll recap it. Actually, it started off pretty heat. Natália Silva, spinning kick to the jaw, dropped Tereza Bledá, then followed up with ground and pound in the third. It was a really good performance. She had to overcome a bit of adversity with Bleda's top pressure in that first round, but you see the difference in the striking in the second, and honestly, Bledá seemed like she was getting tired. Natália Silva looked really good on the feet, solid grappling defense, definitely the more versatile fighter than Bledá, who took her first pro loss. Unfortunate defeat for her, but I do think she has a bright future. At just 20, she's pretty tall too for the women's flyweight division at 5'9". I think she's just going to take some time to marinate. Natália Silva, though, I think keep your eye on her. Only 25, nasty striking game, finishing ability, goes for it. Also had Costa in the corner. Yeah, I think she's got a bright future at 125, so I'm excited for it. Let's keep running up the card. Second fight of the night, Brady Hiestand with a very grappling heavy display over Fernie Garcia. Chain wrestling attack. There were moments where Fernie was actually able to get at Brady and hurt him. Even Brady landing a clean high kick on Fernie Garcia. Somehow Fernie eats it. Brady, though, finishes the fight with the control, gets himself a very deserving unanimous decision win, which is good for the Ultimate Fighter finalist. He lost to Turcios in a super competitive fight, comes back now after some time away, healing from injuries, and he gets his signature win, beating Fernie Garcia and getting that UFC momentum going. He's only 23. I think the future could potentially be pretty bright. He had Michael Chiesa in the corner, very dominant chain wrestling style and works well from the top. Keep your eye on Brady Hiestand. I like the performance. Tough loss for Fernie. I'll assume they'll keep him around for at least one more, though. I don't think you rush to cut him because he was game. Next fight on the card, Vanessa Demopoulos and Maria Oliveira. I'm seeing Spider-Girl. I'm thinking Anderson Silva over here. Demopoulos put on a clean performance. Oliveira had some striking moments, but ultimately the difference maker was the grappling skill sets. Demopoulos was able to manhandle Oliveira on the floor. Granted, Oliveira was still coming on strong in the third round, landed some good strikes towards the very end. She got some money straight punches through. Ultimately not enough to really hurt Demopoulos. And Oliveira actually got touched up and hurt by Demopoulos in the fight too. The wrestling, though, huge difference maker. Jiu-jitsu skill set, massive difference maker. When Demopoulos was on top, she was like concrete from the top position. Worked very well. Good ground and pound. Beat Oliveira up. And Vanessa Demopoulos, in my opinion, proved the point with this win because she's 34, right? Oliveira was the young 25-year-old. Granted, not super top tier, but on the come up enough so that maybe she'd give a Demopoulos problems and even, take her spot and beat her. Demopoulos sends her back packing. And I think Vanessa Demopoulos, at 34, it's like now or never. She got to keep taking these big fights, ride the momentum. Win over Jean Frey, competitive decision in the last one, but clean domination over Maria Oliveira here. I like Vanessa Demopoulos' style. She's got a good personality too. I expect good fights from her. Don't have an exact opponent, but she'll get somebody, that's, I think, a step up for this next one. Ricky Turcios and Kevin Natividad. This fight was way too close for comfort. Ricky Turcios, I thought, would get a more dominant win. Finds himself in a back-and-forth banger with Natividad. There were moments of stalling with the wrestling, but a lot of the fight was fast-paced and consistent. I really enjoyed seeing the grappling exchanges between these two. Turcios, he got touched up with strikes and hurt, man. Natividad was able to get at him, especially with that hook that dropped him. Turcios, tough as nails, able to survive, and he's very active in all the scrambling positions and is nasty with elbows when his opponents try to shoot near the cage. I think Turcios got the fair win, which he deserved, but it was damn close against Kevin Natividad. Moving forward, I don't think you rush Turcios up because Natividad previously, he got beaten badly by Miles Johns and I believe Dana Bategrol after that one. Now he fights Turcios here and he really pushes him to the limit. Turcios getting by this much. He's 12-3. He's 29. He's the Ultimate Fighter winner. Do they want to throw him to the wolves and just say, fuck it? At the end of the day, like with the Ultimate Fighter winners, it's a very weird situation. Certain guys, they marinate and they see as potential top talents. Other guys, they throw them out. I mean, Brad Katona was really good. Ultimate Fighter guy, winner, cut from the UFC quick. And he was on the season that Bryce Mitchell was on. Let's see what they do with Ricky. I have a feeling they throw him to the wolves. Fun style to watch. Let's see how he survives in the Shark Tank. Let's keep running. Next matchup, it was Miles Johns and Vince Morales. In my opinion, this was the letdown fight of the night. I thought this was going to be a back and forth banger with the striking. There were moments, but for the most part, no. Miles Johns, I expected to win the fight, but I thought he would land with some ferocious knockout shots and put Vince Morales even down potentially. I also thought Morales and him would be engaging for the vast majority. Instead, more of, a safety first strategy. Okay, I have to give Miles Johns a bit of excuse. I'm not going to say it's excuse in the negative, but, it's understandable why he didn't fight to his absolute top performance level. James Krause, coach, not in the corner, suspended. His brothers and his father are cornering him. Took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. So short notice fight. Coach not there. Big change of the camp. Family in the corner. John still pulled it out and got himself a win. But it was still competitive against Morales. And I mean, you couldn't have been too confident if you're Miles Johns if it's going into the scorecard late. He does get his hand raised. 13-2. He's got a money record. He's still a pretty skilled fighter. He's at 28. So we're going to find out very soon. Previously, he was bouncing back off a loss to John Castaneda, who's tough as fuck. I think Miles Johns is good. I don't know about top-tier talent as far as ranked goes. So I believe in the next 2 years is going to really tell all about his ceiling as a mixed martial artist. He's still very entertaining. I do think has some dynamic power when he can land. Unfortunately, a little gun shy in this one. But due to circumstances, understandable. Clean win for Miles Johns. Let's move on up to the ladies' fight. This one here was Jennifer Maia and Maryna Moroz, which finished out our prelim card. Jennifer Maia put it on Maryna Moroz with the striking. She cracked her with big shots. I thought she definitely won the fight. There was no doubt in my mind at the end that Jennifer Maia was going to get it. Moroz was getting outstruck, and with Moroz, she kind of does the same thing over and over again. Little slips, little straights, little slips, little straights. Maia was catching on to her and cracking her with right hands. Jennifer Maia had good moments standing up. She rocked Moroz a bit. Not like huge wow moments, but still clean performance there by Jennifer Maia. And she sends back the number 15th ranked girl who was looking to jump way up in the rankings against a girl near the top with Jennifer Maia. The reason they gave Maia this fight is because it was now, okay, you're at gatekeeper status. If Moroz wins, we know we're pushing her towards the top. If you beat her back, we're keeping you in that strong position. I find Maia in a very interesting spot. I'm actually going to bring up the UFC rankings for this fight here. I'm going to bring up the official rankings. We might have to bring up Ranking MMA for some of the other fights, but this was legit ranked women's contender matchup. So I can find it here. Women's flyweight. It might look ugly on the screen. Let me look at myself real quick. All right, it doesn't look bad. We see the top 8. Jennifer Maia here. Just beat number 15, Moroz down here. If I'm looking at throwing her opponents, a fight against Lauren Murphy might make a lot of sense. What was Jennifer Maia's recent fight? And Lauren Murphy off a big win, though. Maybe Miesha Tate could somehow find herself in a matchup with her. She's lost to only the top tier girls. I'm trying to see the recent names that you've seen. If you throw her in there even with an Andrea Lee, I wouldn't complain. I don't think you give her the monsters in the top 6 like an Andrade. I think it's too much. I think a girl that's pretty caliber, Viviane Araujo even. I don't know exactly the matchup. I find myself in a real tricky spot when I'm looking to matchmake someone like a Jennifer Maia. I think the UFC is going to take their time because I'm looking at it. It's a girl who's fought the top, but you don't want to put her in there against a name that could come up and then she sends back that's like too close to the upper echelon. I mean, maybe they give her Casey O'Neill. Interesting spot that Maia's in. Good win, and you're going to see her in the rankings still. She retains that spot. Moroz, I don't know. She might be out of those rankings. Let's jump to what is the substitute main card opener. Zhalgas Zhumagulov and Charles Johnson. Listen, I picked Charles Johnson to win, but I thought Zhalgas Zhumagulov, watching it live, I thought he had it. I thought he would get the decision. I know Johnson finished really strong, but I thought the first two were probably Zhumagulov, so I wouldn't have been disappointed with the fight going that way. Granted, good performance for Charles Johnson. Nice to see him getting a win here in this spot. And he didn't look bad, but I still thought he lost the fight. These guys are back end at flyweight right now. Zhumagulov put it all out there, got the win. I hope the UFC doesn't cut him, because I really think he should have got it, man. I thought he beat Charles Johnson. This is coming from somebody that picked Charles Johnson to win the fight. I'm not giving no bias-ass take that I thought Johnson had it. No, I thought Zhumagulov probably did more, landed the more effective strikes, good pressure, and I thought he deserved it 29-28. Instead, they give it Charles Johnson. Congrats to him getting his hand raised. I like Johnson's style. He's slick from the outside. He's got fast hands, and he weathered some adversity with his leg being hurt too. But I still would have gave it to Zhumagulov. Judge's decision, though. They go Charles Johnson. Interesting spot. Flyweight division. Not rankings. I'll tell you that. That's definitely not what's next for Charles Johnson. Next fight. Jack Della Maddalena and Danny Roberts. Holy fuck. Jack Della Maddalena put it on Danny Roberts. Beatdown. The combinations were fucking insane. The body shot at the end just broke Danny Roberts and completely flattens him to the floor. Now, how I'm looking at it, I'm thinking Jack Della Maddalena, maybe you give him the fast track. Is Leach down to fight him at Perth? I'm down to see him versus a ranked contender in Leach. Where's the rankings here? Let's see. Leach is Leach unranked? Leach is unranked. They took Leach out. Daniel Rodriguez took that spot. All right, I'm in for Leach versus Jack Della Maddalena. If they're throwing Leach to the wolves and Della Maddalena kind of to the wolves, both guys just going after it, I think Della Maddalena can shine. Do they want to build him slow or they want to fast track him? I think he could be ready for the fast track. Unfortunately, I don't know what the UFC is going to do exactly. My pick is going to be give him the big shot. I want to see him versus a top contender. I want to see him versus a guy in Leach that's beaten really good fighters and has significant knockout power and can match him in the center. I'm going Maddalena versus Li Jingliang in Australia. If Leach is ready for it and he can turn around and take it, I think that's the matchup to make. And it would be on the main card, and I think a huge spot performance-wise for Della Maddalena. And if he knocks out Leach, his stock jumps crazy. Let's get to the next fight. Muslim Salikhov, he looked so good. Andre Fialho, I've given up hope on. I was picking him with confidence, guys. I called him lock of the week. Biggest fucking mistake call on my part, period. He got destroyed. I thought he'd be able to do it with the hands. Salikhov was touching him up with punches, mixed in takedowns. The kicks were incredible. He broke him at the end. Whatever how they stopped it, it had to be done. Fialho was finished, man. He had nothing left. Salikhov was all over him, beating him up with strikes. It was a one-sided fight for Salikhov. There was a couple punches by Fialho first round. I could have kind of given him a close 10-9. I give him 10-9 first, Fialho. The eye was swollen for Salikhov. He was getting pressured. But, dude, Fialho's just not versatile enough. Salikhov just had so many tricks to the game. The body kicks, too. The spinning kicks were fucking crazy. Yeah, Muslim Salikhov's extremely dangerous. He's in an interesting spot because he's nearly 40 years old, and I don't think he's ready for ranked fighters. But if there is one ranked fighter I would be willing to watch him fight, maybe a Daniel Rodriguez who's coming off a recent loss. Crazy matchup. I know Salikhov recently lost to Leach. Leach gets, a loss controversially to Daniel Rodriguez, excuse me. I'm going to go Salikhov potentially against Rodriguez, though, if they're looking to give him that ranked opponent. Because this was like a highly impressive one-way traffic beatdown type performance. I like Muslim Salikhov a lot. And he's an extremely dangerous striker. He's Dagestani, bro. He also has the wrestling in the back pocket. So don't doubt this man anywhere the fight goes. Salikhov earning my respect at 38 more than ever now. Co-main event. Where's Waldo? We found him beating up Chase Sherman here. It was a great clean win for Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Had to deal with some low kicks, but nowhere near the threat of Jared Vanderaa. Waldo was able to beat up Chase Sherman with striking. Looked like he almost had him out of there in the second round. Tons of shots landed. Chase Sherman's tough, though, man. He dogged it out and went the full three. Got to respect the man for taking clean punches throughout and getting himself, a hard loss once again for Sherman, but not a cut-worthy loss. He's still going to be on that UFC roster coming Monday. They're not releasing him. They're not giving him a pink slip. He was tough, and he fought a dangerous guy in Waldo who said, listen, I'm ready to turn around already. He said, give me a fight on the UFC card when? December 10th, man. He wants to fight at UFC 282. He wants a huge opportunity like that. I think maybe they give him the Apex card the next weekend. That's maybe what they do with him. They call him the king of the Apex. Who does he fight, though? The heavyweight division, I got to bring up Ranking MMA. And if you guys hate me picking fights and you're not curious about the potential hypothetical type shit, I guess you can skip past to that main event. But if you are interested in it, we're going to look through, because I'm more curious of like, who do we book this guy against? Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he was ranked 22. Chase Sherman, where do we got Sherman at? He's got to be at the bottom here. Chase Sherman was 26. Waldo's 22. You know, yeah, a guy like Rodrigo Nascimento, that could potentially be next for him. I don't hate that fight. Him and Nascimento, or do you give him Andrei Arlovsky and you try to build him off an Andrei Arlovsky win? I know Arlovsky got beat bad in the last one, though, but it is striker versus striker. I'd go Waldo Arlovsky, but timelines depending. I don't hate the Nascimento fight. They might keep him more towards back-end guys, but I think they're better off just giving him a little push up in competition, man. He's not a super young heavyweight. How old is he? I guess he is. He's kind of young for heavyweight at 31. I mean, shit. In Bellator the other night, Daniel James is 40, and he just burst into their top 5. I think Waldo versus someone like an Arlovsky would be a showcase fight, versus someone like Nascimento would be a challenge of a guy who has good grappling and has stand-up, which is a very different matchup. I kind of like the Nascimento fight. Depends on what the UFC is trying to do with him. Maybe they keep him safer and they give her someone, you know, more in the backside. But Waldo, good win, clean performance, beats Chase Sherman. Sherman's still going to be on the roster, though. He's always a fun guy to watch. Main event of the evening. Make sure you guys smash the likes if you haven't. Cutelaba versus Nzechukwu, our fill-in main event, because we lost the Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak fight. Ion Cutelaba had good control with takedowns. Hurt Nzechukwu in the first round, was all over him. But like always, he's a one-rounder bust fighter. Nzechukwu was kneeing the fuck out of him in the second. It was crazy the amount of knees he was able to land. Hurts him with big punches. And then the follow-up ground and pound he was landing, like Cutelaba would look to get up. A shot lands, he would flatten. He looked to get up again. Another shot land, he went down. Referee jumps in at the perfect time. It was Nzechukwu just working Cutelaba. When they started striking, when a little fatigue set in, Nzechukwu was levels ahead. And honestly, I have earned a new respect for Nzechukwu's game, but also I've become a little bit more of an Nzechukwu fan with a real wholesome post-fight interview. I guess the UFC is the ultimate platform to prove yourself, because Nzechukwu is a guy I've watched every one of his UFC fights, but I've never really taken time to invest into him, and like really, he never built a character for me. That post-fight interview, I'm like, okay, he's a humble man who's trying to be a good mixed martial artist, has some good physical attributes, maybe lacks a bit in the talent side, but seems to work his ass off. I think Nzechukwu is going to be a fun guy to keep an eye on in the light heavyweight division. It was a good win over Cutelaba. Now, where do you bring him after this fight? Who's the opponent that you match him up with? Obviously, he's not getting someone towards the top end of the weight class, but Cutelaba was around rank 19. I don't know if they push him up that level. You know, William Knight's availability is going to be there. Maybe a fight against William Knight and Nzechukwu. That's a crazy size differential matchup. Wouldn't shock me if they even gave him, like, maybe do you give him an OSP versus Gustafsson? That fight's going down. Maybe the loser there, depending on when he wants to turn around. Devin Clark, Dao Un-jung. I think that he could fight. Nah, they're not going to give him a rematch. Dao Un-jung, such a bad performance. I don't think they send them back to the likes of Pedro. Damn, I think I like my pick, man. I think I like the William Knight fight for him, potentially. Or I know William Knight's on a losing streak too, so hard spot. Or I think you give him, you know, somebody like an OSP or Gustafsson. Stay ready. Maybe he fills in for somebody there. Or do they throw him to the fucking Lions and give him Azamat Mirzakhanov? Or they push him in the rankings and you give him a soft touch in the rankings. A fight that he can definitely win. Khalil Roundtree versus Nzechukwu. That's not a fight that I hate either for him, because that's a big step up. He's coming off a main event. Ride that hype. Him and Khalil's a big fight. And I mean, maybe you even now have it as more of a sellable, you know, feature bout of the night on an ESPN Plus card, because Nzechukwu's name was definitely built in that one. For Cutelaba, he's in a very weird spot. I push him to the back, man. I push him far back. William Knight was supposed to fight Pranchniel. I could see Pranchniel versus Cutelaba next. I think that might make some sense. I think that's the one I'll ride with. Damn, they got Gustafsson ranked at 33. Holy shit. The winner of Gus and OSP is also a viable option for Kennedy Nzechukwu. I find him as a very interesting contender. Now, weird situation because we lost our main event fight, and I was predicting Derek Lewis to come from behind KO. Who knows what would have happened? This back injury, I don't know how long Derek Lewis is going to need out. I saw people in my live chat saying he was ready to fight and wanted to fight after coming out of the hospital. That's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. No matter how much he wants, you go to the hospital, it's done. He's out. He pulled out, game over. I knew it wasn't going to happen. Do the UFC move on with the Sergey Spivak and push him up the ranks? Spivak was sitting at 12. He was fighting Lewis at 7. I could see them giving Spivak maybe a winner of Pavlovich to Ivasa, but it's going to be dependent on how quick of a turnaround does he want. Do they rebook Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak for next month on the pay-per-view card? I like that idea if possible. Let's rebook that for the 10th and let's blow that pay-per-view card up and make it the best card possible. I'm down for it. Or maybe they do it later at the Apex. Maybe they bring it to fucking UFC Orlando. I don't know exactly what the UFC will do. Ultimately, it's going to depend upon if both guys are interested in competing right away with a turnaround or if they want some time off. Spivak, Chris Dawkins could even be a fight. I know it's a big step down from the names of Derek Lewis, but if he's not available, I don't know if he's getting a fight against an Alexander Volkov or even the likes of a Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I don't know the UFC's mindset. I do think he can beat a Jairzinho. I do think Volkov's a very interesting test for him too. So Spivak, interesting situation overall. UFC Vegas 65. It wasn't a great card. The glue that held it together was lost, but ultimately, we still had fist fights. We still had some entertainment, and I enjoyed covering it. Guys, make sure you smash that like button if you're new, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Official picks for the night. Let me make sure I don't forget to do it. We lost on the Nzechukwu fight. We won on Waldo, so we're 1-1. Lost with Salikov, so that's 1-2. Won with Della Maddalena, so what is that, 2-2? And then we won with Charles Johnson, 3-2. Lost with Maia, 3-3. Won with Miles Johns, 4-3. Won with Turcios, 5-3. Lost with Demopoulos, 5-4. Won with Brady, 6-4. And then lost because I switched my pick to Tereza Bledá with Natália Silva. So 6-5, the official record if you're going with the weigh-in recap show. If you go with the early ones, I guess technically speaking, it was 7-4 before my mind got clouded by intimidation. Don't switch your picks after the weigh-ins unless it's like a disgusting weight cut. I made that mistake, and I've done it before. I don't want to do it again. Much love, my people. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay tuned for the content dropping all week. I'll be covering PFL, which I'm really looking forward to that breakdown. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.